Hello, everybody. My name is Coach Randy Dobbs, and I teach that the Bible is proven true by fulfilled prophecy. In our past episodes in our prophecy series, we started with the first prophecy, seed of a woman, then continued with the predicted lineage of the Messiah with Seth, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, Jesse, King David, and Solomon, with the Jewish commentaries telling you that the rabbis said they were prophetic. Today, I want to discuss the virgin birth and how it's true. But first, I want to pause for a moment and explain the magnitude of the combination of just 8 of these past 9 predictions coming true by one man in history. In his book, Science Speaks, mathematician Professor Peter Stoner tells us how he compares the odds of this to covering the entire state of Texas, 2 feet deep with silver dollars, marking $1. Let a blind man go as far as he wants, but he has to choose the one marked dollar. The odds of this happening is 1 in 10 to the 17th power, or 1 in 100 quadrillion, and the number just keeps getting bigger as we add more fulfilled prophecies. My goal is to equip our young teens to why the Bible is true. But to tell the truth, it's not just our teens that need to know the truth. Did you know when church members were surveyed and asked about this statement, the Bible, like all sacred writing, contains helpful accounts of ancient myths, but is not literally true? That 25% strongly agreed, and that 28% somewhat agreed. That's over 50% of adults that doubt that the Bible is true. No wonder that the kids don't know when the adults in the church that have their own doubts. I care about your children and I care about you, so it's important to know why you can know that Bible is true. So I want to continue with teaching you about fulfilled prophecy. The prophecy today is Isaiah 7:14, which I am going to separate into 2 prophecies to keep this video from being extremely long. Today we will focus on the virgin birth of the verse. Therefore, Adonai himself will give you people a sign. The young woman will become pregnant, bear a son, and name him Emmanuel. God is with us. Isaiah 7:14. Most of the Christian Bibles say virgin, while the Jewish Tanakh in the Hebrew only says young maiden. So did the disciples mistranslate young maiden as virgin? Matthew and Luke both tell you Mary was a virgin. But were they being dishonest when they wrote, "And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins"? Now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, "Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel," which being interpreted is God with us. Matthew 1:21-23. So Matthew says Mary was a virgin and that Jesus was God with us. But what does Luke say? To a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. Luke 1:27. Now, to be honest, neither Matthew nor Luke were eyewitnesses to Mary being a virgin. But do you know who knew if Mary was a virgin? Mary knew. She was her own eyewitness, and she was alive when the disciples were alive, and they could have easily heard the story of the miraculous virgin birth of Jesus from Mary herself. Luke writes as an eyewitness reporter, Luke 1, "For as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us, even as they delivered them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. It seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto thee in order, most excellent Theophilus, that thou mightest know the certainty of those things wherein thou hast been instructed." Now, as far as the disciples quoting Isaiah 7:14, is it possible they were quoting the Jewish translated Greek Septuagint version of the Tanakh? It reads, "Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive in the womb, and shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Emmanuel." Brenton's Septuagint translation. So is it possible that the verse does say and mean virgin? The Jewish commentary Megillah 9:9 says, "King Ptolemy of Egypt, who assembled 72 elders from the sages of Israel, and said to each of them, 'Write for me a translation of the Torah of Moses your teacher.'" Not only did they all translate the text correctly, they all introduced the same changes into the translated text. Ptolemy was pharaoh of Ptolemaic Egypt from 305-304 BC to his death, some 300 years before Jesus was born. So according to the rabbis, they say They all translate the text correctly. They all introduce the same changes into the translated text. So when the Jewish translated Septuagint says, "Behold, a virgin shall conceive in the womb," is it possible the disciples were quoting the text correctly? Sometimes during debates, Jews will try to say only the Torah was translated into the Septuagint, but their commentaries tell you a different story. It was also prophets and the rest of the books that was translated before Jesus. The grandson of Ben Sira, 132 BC, in the prologue to his translation of his grandfather's work, speaks of the law, prophets, and the rest of the books as being already current in his day. A Greek Chronicles is mentioned by Apollonius, middle of 2nd century BC. But let's see what else the rabbis say about this verse. The commentary of Rabbi Eliezer of Izayag. She shall conceive now that which is not usual with a young woman. For the way of a man with a young woman, Proverbs 30:19, is wondrous, and it was not known that she had engaged in intercourse, for she had not yet conceived. Someone who has not engaged in intercourse is a virgin. What is your opinion? Then in the debate, some Jews will try to say the verse is about King Hezekiah, but Rashi says, some interpret this as being said about Hezekiah, but it is impossible because when you count his years, you find that Hezekiah was born 9 years before his father's reign. The young girls of Israel were expected to be virgins. If any man takes a wife and goes into her and then hates her and charges her with shameful deeds and publicly defames her and says, I took this woman, but when I came to her, I did not find her a virgin. Then the girl's father and her mother shall take and bring out the evidence of the girl's virginity to the elders of the city at the gate. And the girl's father shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man for a wife, but he hated her. And look, he has accused her, saying, I did not find your daughter a virgin, but this is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. Also, the Talmud takes most seriously the requirement that a woman be a virgin when she marries for the first time. Ketuvot 10, a tilde virginity. Where does the evidence lay? Was she expected to be a virgin? So my conclusion is the same as the disciples, the Jewish translated Septuagint, and what was expected of any good young maiden. Behold, a virgin shall conceive. Tell me what you think by sharing me a comment. Was Mary a virgin, as the disciples say, or an unfaithful young maiden, as the Jews claim? We want to thank you for listening. We want to thank Team O Ranch Recording Studio. Please visit ontoheaven.com. All pictures mine. If you like the show, then comment either good or bad. Stay blessed by the one who loves you so much and was willing to die for you.